Right, so in this slideshow, we're going to look at average propensity to consume, marginal propensity to consume, average propensity to save, and marginal propensity to save. Now, you need to understand what these are before you look at the multiplier. These are really important points to do with the multiplier. So first of all, marginal propensity to consume. Marginal is all about, in this case, how much of your pay rise you spend. So marginal is referring to an increase in income. So if your income goes up, how much of that extra income are you consuming, or how much of that extra income are you spending? So a proportion of an increase in income which is consumed. In terms of the formula, it's change in consumption over change in income. So if you get a pay rise of £20 and you spend £10 of that pay rise, your marginal propensity to consume will be 10 over 20, or a half. If marginal propensity to consume is 1, that means that your change in income is the same as your change in consumption. So if your income goes up by £20, your consumption goes up by £20, and that will give you a marginal propensity to consume of 1. So you're most likely to find the marginal propensity to consume being 1 for poorer people. So they have an increase in their income and they spend all of that increased income because they need to buy necessities. So they will need to buy food, they might need some new clothing, and they need to spend all of that increased income. If marginal propensity to consume is 0 or close to 0, what that means is you've got an increase in income, but you've not spent any of it. So that's going to be the case for somebody that's very wealthy and already has everything that they need. So they've already bought all the things that they want and need. They've got their house, they've got their car, they've been on the holidays, etc. They've got everything that they need, so they get a pay rise. They don't need anything else, so they don't spend any of their pay rise. So they would have no increase in consumption, and that would be 0 divided by whatever the increase in income. So they'd have a marginal propensity to consume of 0 or very close to 0. Marginal propensity to save is, as you'd perhaps expect, the proportion of extra income that is saved. So if you get an increase in income, how much do you save? So marginal propensity to consume is looking at how much of that increased income you consume. Marginal propensity to save is how much of that increased income do you save. Same formula, except saving instead of consumption. So change in saving over change in income. So if you have an increased income of £20 and you save all £20 of that, that gives you a marginal propensity to save of 1. So that means that you've saved all of your income. That's going to be the case. Somebody that saves all their income, that could be somebody like we talked about in the previous slideshow, that already has everything that they need. So any extra income that they get is just going to go into savings. If MPS is 0 or close to 0, that means they're not saving anything. So that's going to be the poorer person that gets their increased income and they need to spend all of it and they don't have any spare that they can save. So because income is equal to consumption plus saving, this means that your marginal propensity to consume plus your marginal propensity to save is going to be equal to 1. So if you're given a value for marginal propensity to consume, you can then work out the marginal propensity to save, because the two of those should equal to 1. So we could look at a numerical example. So if income increases by £100 and that leads to an increase in consumption of 70 and an increase in saving of 30. So increase in saving of 30, increased consumption of 70, then marginal propensity to consume is going to be 70 over 100. Marginal propensity to save is going to be, so I've got a cat trying to take my Apple Pencil off me. Marginal propensity to save is going to be 30 over 100. And you can see if we cancel that down, it'd be 7 out of 10 and 3 out of 10, which add together to give you 1. Right, average propensity to consume. That's all about your total income. So it's the same kind of principle as before, but it's total income. So it's the proportion of your total income that you spend. So average propensity to consume is total consumption over total income. So if average propensity to consume is equal to 1, that means that your total income is equal to your total consumption. So it means you spend everything. If average propensity to consume is greater than 1, so that, looking at the numbers, an average propensity to consume of greater than 1 means that your total income might be 100 and your total consumption might be 120. So that means that you're spending all of your income and you're spending more than your income. So maybe you're using up saving, or maybe you're getting into debt, maybe taking out a loan. If average propensity to consume is close to 0, then that means little income is spent. So I'm sure we all know some people that don't spend anything. Their average propensity to consume is going to be 0 or close to 0. Then average propensity to save, you can probably guess what's coming next. So it's the proportion of total income which is saved. And there's your formula, total saving over total income. Average propensity to save of 1, that means everything that you receive, you save. Not many people are going to be in that position. And if it's 0, then that means you don't save anything. So think about total saving is 0, total income might be 100. 0 over 100 gives you 0. So average propensity to save of 0 means that you're saving nothing. And then just like marginal, if you add the two together, you get an answer of 1. So if your total income is 100, your total consumption is 70, same numbers as before, total saving is 30, you can see that your average of propensity to save is going, or propensity to consume first, is going to be 70 over 100. Your average propensity to save is going to be 30 over 100. So those two added together are going to be equal to 1.